What is up, my beautiful treeple? That's like people and trees. Y'all get it. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Matt Latham, board certified master arborist and ASCA registered consulting arborist. I got a few other credentials or whatever, but we started this cute little group here back, about a year ago or less. And the whole point was to have you guys bring in your great tree questions. We answer those great tree questions in as great a way as we possibly can, using current scientific things and current industry research and things like that. And y'all, it has just blown up. We are currently sitting over 2,500 people and over 500 guests, almost 600. So I'll do some quick math. That's over 3,000 people that we've had participate in this group. Y'all, I am so honored that you would choose to waste probably your Thursday night. We'll try to make it a little worth your time to come out here and hang out and talk trees and learn about the tree problems that you're experiencing. Hopefully we've got some great answers for you, but just a little background information. Back in 2018, my wife and I decided, hey, I'm sick and tired of driving all around Dallas, Texas and Fort Worth, Texas to go look at trees. So we started doing like little Zoom chats. And, just as a way to preliminarily qualify or disqualify a person, whether it's worth my time to go out there. And at the time I was charging for consultations, like $95. It's negligible. But, man, I just found myself driving 4 to 5 hours a day, and it just wasn't worth it. So it's like, at what cost do I go out and help people with their trees? Is it at the cost of my family? That's not worth it, y'all. So anyways, what happened there is we grew into an actual business. And if you look here, my website is arboristondemand.com. And essentially what we do is telemedicine for trees. And what I found is we can get about 80 to 90% of the way there. Most of the time is we can figure out exactly what's going on and give you a good guidance, good direction on how to take care of your trees best. And sometimes that requires some local help. So we help you find the right professionals and all that. But we're going to go over all your questions here. We got a bunch of great questions tonight, like, I don't know, 100 or more. We're not going to get to them all. We're going to get through a good chunk of them, though. We'll tag each and every one of you on your post and let you know exactly what timestamp to go and check out the feed on, and hopefully give you some great answers to your trees. And like I said, if you need a closer look, we're happy to help you over here on arboristondemand.com. And like I said, we do telemedicine for trees. If doctors can do it, why not tree doctors, y'all? So let's get right into it, guys. First off, we've got Wendy Venom Wigan. I'm so sorry I'm butchering your name. There, Wendy. I can do Wendy. That's easy enough. So Wendy's got a struggling Palo Verde. Those are really cool trees, by the way. Desert trees with a systemic solution 2 weeks ago. Not sure how long before I should expect to see if it's going to survive. One person said it's borer beetles. Any help would be greatly appreciated. In Lake Havasu City, Arizona. I have no idea where that is, but I would want to know, Wendy, a little bit more about what type of systemic treatment you are talking about. Is it an insecticide? Is it a fungicide? Things like that. I don't see any just spot on. That's borers. We got to do something about that right there. What I do see is you're absolutely right. You've got a struggling Palo Verde. One thing I'll say here, Wendy, is you've got obviously some limbs that have been removed. I'm assuming those are unalived limbs, but beyond the borer problem, I want to get way beyond that to maybe 5 years ago, give or take, where you had some sort of issue with the roots. This tree was planted wrong. When they planted it, by the way, anytime you plant a tree, you want to see nice big root flares coming out of the base there. So for example, here's your tree. You want it to flare out like 45-degree angle, give or take. That's really important because that's transitionary tissue where it basically starts creating, excuse me, I'm dropping all my stuff over here. Basically, that's the transition point where the roots start to become that nice big net that captures all the minerals, all the air from the atmosphere, and converts it into a form the tree can take up. So anytime you've got it buried, just like you've got over here, that to me is a really, really big problem right at the base there. I see one root flare, and nothing, maybe one over on the backside. I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a closer look here. Nothing there. Nothing there. Y'all, when you post pictures, make sure to show the base of the tree. Multiple angles is preferable. So I think what you've got is more of an abiotic stressor, more of an abiotic condition, that this tree is really stressed because of some abiotic situations there. I will say this is don't worry about watering so much. Those Palo Verdes are excellent survivors in the desert. It wouldn't hurt to do a nice big mulch ring around there. Go as big as you can. If you can find some local mulch, that's great. If not, you can actually order it online, and humic acid is a really great solution if you can't find any of that. One big issue with sandy soils like you've got there, or granite soils even, is you've actually got a lot of salt levels in the soil typically. So myshopify.com. So one great product that I like is a brand called Microlife, and they are made right here in Houston, Texas. They're my favorite company. They're a little tiny little like hole in the wall joint. They're actually hard to find. But the owner, Mike Sarant, is one of the board members for a group called OBA. That is the Local Organic Society. And so this stuff will actually help to draw some of the salt levels out of the soil and help to start getting your tree growing in the right direction. So give that a shot, and then, give it a little supplemental water. That's going to be important. But the big thing I think is going to be get those root flares exposed, because if you notice here, I'll zoom in a little bit. So you've got this unalived branch way up in the top here on the right side. Well, right directly in line with that is where it looks like you've got something obstructing that root system. So I think that's going to be a big portion of your problem there, Wendy. So hope that helps. And of course, like I said, hit us up on arboristondemand.com if you want to take a closer look. Happy to help where I can. We're moving on. Dana's got a black tupelo tree. Hey, y'all, I just wrote a blog the other day on our website. Again, that's on arboristondemand.com under the tree search section. And essentially, one of the top hurricane resistant trees on this planet are actually black tupelo. I think they're number like 14 or 15 on the list, but there's actually check it out. This is awesome. So this is FEMA put out a thing a couple years ago, and it's called Improving Community Hurricane Resilience Through Comprehensive Assessment of Tree Species Wind Resistance. So essentially what they did is they looked at all these different factors of what plays into how a tree breaks and why it falls in a storm. And they took all this metadata from all these different studies all over the US, and they basically compiled it and said, okay, these are going to be the strongest trees. And how do you build a community that's going to be more tolerant, more resistant to hurricane? And you can scale that up to any storm, really. So hurricanes, storms in general. Up in the Northeast, you get those nor'easters, and in Dallas, you get tornadoes. So I actually had a tree in Lucas, Texas. It was actually like 5 trees on the back of this guy's property, and we pruned it about a week before an EF4 tornado came in and wrecked his home. Just absolutely destroyed it. They were homeless for a little bit, and anyways, the tree survived. We pruned it according to proper tree specs, and those trees were not in the top 20 list. So, anyways. Bunny trails for days, y'all. Dana, you've got a black tupelo tree in your backyard. Lately, I feel like it's not been doing well. We've lived in our house for almost a year. When we moved in, it seems so much fuller. Our grass has been fertilized a couple times. I know this was a mistake. Actually, great. Great. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes, not always. So we quickly stopped fertilizing it and cut off a bunch of unalived branches. I almost said the D word. Not to sound crass, y'all. That's DEAD, don't get y'all perverts. I water the grass a few times a week, but our tree still seems sad. The leaves are a bit droopy, and there's still quite a bit of unalived branches. Does it look sickly in anyone else's opinion? What can I do to make it better? I'm a big fan of not watering that much, honestly. Dana, sorry. I know you've got grass, and you probably want to make sure your grass is good. It looks like there's actually some herbicide that's been used on the backside there. I'd be curious to know what that was. But if you look back right along the fence, it looks like there's some weed and feed, or possibly even like some chemicals to treat the fence. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but it looks like you've got a lot going on with some chemicals in your soil. So this is my absolute favorite product for that. You can use, you can also use like activated charcoal is a great solution there. Activated charcoal lasts for like 500 years. and it soaks up for that entirety. So it's essentially charcoal that is created without oxygen, that is created without burning oxygen, which is kind of an oxymoron. But if you do a specialized machine, it works out well. And what you're left with is basically pure carbon. Well, humic acid is very, very, very similar. It's essentially composted compost. It is the extreme version of, think of like compost tea, if you're familiar with it. That is the extreme version, Humates Plus. And so that's going to have some humic acid, some fulvic acid, and some other great things that'll start to revamp your soil. And so that's what I would recommend just as a general cure-all. That's not going to be, you know, there's a lot more to it than that, but it sounds like you're on the right path. You've realized you've had some, oh my goodness. Yeah, that's not good. What'd you have, like True Green or one of those jerks out there? One of those big box companies that they just come and spray on their proprietary blend. And y'all, that's so bad. Like I like, me personally, I need to have a job, right? And currently I consult. I help people make good decisions with their trees. But in the past, I was willing to do just about anything to feed my family. That was important to me. So I understand some of those guys are out there just spraying and spraying and spraying because they need a job, and they may be great people. But the people at the top, they just have this one blanket proprietary formula. And unfortunately, a lot of times that can do more harm than it does good. And so you really want to make sure you're looking at it and making a good decision there. Ask them specifically what they're putting down. You'd be shocked to find out how little they know about the products they're spraying in your yard. Hope that helps, Dana. We're moving on. Andrew's asking, thanks for the added group. Hey, thanks for joining, buddy. First time posting and looking for advice on how to prune this crepe myrtle. I've had it since it was about 5 feet tall, and now it's 14 foot tall. Trellis to the left is 10 foot. It's a 10-foot post. I need the shade it provides the patio, but want to shrink the width a little bit. Thanks. Hey, I love it. Let's see what they're all saying. Oh, baby, crepe myrtles are fun to prune. Yeah, but you don't want to top them. Remove dead, rubbing, crossing, and interfering limbs. Let it grow otherwise. Yeah, I actually agree with that. Shem, by the way, is one of the best arborists I know. He invented a really cool device that I climbed with for years, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. And he's just a great guy. He's added so much to this industry. And Shem, thanks so much for being here, buddy. He's with Bartlett Tree Experts over in Savannah, Georgia, I believe. So, hey, thanks a million, dude. All right, check for bark scale, small white flecks, sticky, shiny leaves. Feels like the tree is misting on you. Oh, that's not mist, y'all. That's insect feces. All right, well, let's get right into it. Andrew, what you want to do is not so much, I kind of agree. I'm a big proponent of keep it simple, keep it natural. Leave it alone. Take out the unalived wood. Take out the rubbing and crossing limbs, like has been said. But one thing I'll add to that is if you do want to reduce the height, there is a pruning style called reduction pruning. And I'll show you kind of a good example of that here. Where's all my stuff? Oh. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that was fun. All right, let's check it out. We got a crepe myrtle. I'm just going to give you an example of one limb because that's all I have time for. So you got a limb, comes out here. You got all these other subordinate limbs that come off of that. Right? And so most people, when they talk about shortening the height of a crepe myrtle, they're in reference to topping. Well, that is very, 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 very bad. What you want to do is make a proper reduction pruning wound. So you want to come to one of these lateral branches and you want to reduce the height back to there. Now the rule is 1/3 the diameter. So anything you reduce back to has to be 1/3 or greater of the size of the limb. So if you've got a 3-inch limb, you do not want to remove anything back to anything less than 1 inch in diameter at the attachment point. So 3-inch limb here, you got a 1-inch limb here. Make sure when you make that pruning wound, you're not coming beyond 1 inch. And that's just a general rule. The bigger you go, the better, by the way. So what you want to do is draw an imaginary line here and then draw an imaginary line on the angle of the actual branch. And then you want to bisect those. So your cut is going to be approximately right there. Now, that is called a reduction pruning wound. And you want to remove all this tissue here. And you can do that to any of these, and that will effectively give you the height reduction that you're looking for. So again, I'm a big fan of keep it natural, let the tree grow, let it do its thing. But sometimes we got to work around functional limitations, and it looks like you got a big gazebo there. That is a functional limitation. So hope that helps, Andrew, and we are moving on. How are we doing on time, Lucas? We got 3 done in 15 minutes. That's not bad. All right. So Emily's got a coastal Southern California tree. We don't know what it is. I've begun to notice a white resin sap on our California pepper tree. I see those all the time. Those do really well in California, in spite of the name. It hardens, but comes out looking very similar to elbow glue. There are small spots of it all over. Is this normal? How do I keep my tree healthy? Let's take a look at it. Hold on 1 second. There she is. Hey, gorgeous. That's my bride. She just walked in. Hi, Edith. Hi, little lady. That's my daughter. All right. California pepper tree. Hey, baby girl. Y'all hear? Okay, so Emily, what you're looking at is those are pitch tubes. I really should have shut my door, y'all. She got it for me. There she is. Hey, baby girl. It's me, your dad, and I love you. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed that fun little distraction, Emily. That'll be great to go through. Okay. So yeah, that's right. You're in California. Planning Commission. Oh, we need to talk, maybe. Commissioner at City of Oceanside. Yeah, we need to talk because I work with a lot of municipalities, just like you, planters. And we do work with tree protection ordinances, work with builders and stuff, and code enforcement and things like that. So love to help wherever we can. But yeah, you've got those are called pitch tubes, and typically they're related to insects. So typically you're going to have some sort of a borer insect that is getting in the middle there. I can't remember where you said. Where were we looking? Southern California? Coastal Southern California. So that's going to be San Diego, Los Angeles, maybe La Jolla. I don't know. Reach out to me, shoot me a DM, because I actually know a bunch of guys in that area, and maybe we can help point you in the right direction. Well, you know what? I had an email. It was a funny email. Somebody said they were looking for a Southern California arborist, and my response was, well, that doesn't say. That's like saying North Texas arborist. You know, that could mean Amarillo, that could mean Dallas, Fort Worth, whatever, or South Texas. That could mean Houston. That could mean Brownsville. That could mean Corpus Christi. Whatever. There's so many options there, but. Anyways, yeah, if that was you, give me a little more details, because I do have some friends and family, tree family, if you will, in that area. I'd love to connect you with them. So, but yeah, I think that you've got some borer issues going on. It's not uncommon. Those pepper trees are actually, they produce a lot of really good tannins and phenols that can start suppressing in those trees. One thing I will say is you've got the root flares buried. You've had a lot of fungal issues going on over the years there, Emily. That's what those are. Those big burls is essentially, think of it like cancers. The cancer grows, tree grows around it. Cancer grows, tree grows around it. Cancer grows, tree grows around it. So the tree's doing a marvelous job of maintaining, but I think you've got some long-term issues you got to get addressed. So, hey, if we can help out, I'd love to do like a digital arborist consultation with you and maybe start pointing you in the right direction. And but if nothing else, reach out to me and we can connect you with somebody out there. So. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, Patrick, that's kind of what I'm saying that too, actually. And I know we had our disagreements on some other posts, Patrick, but I think you're right on that one. I think we got some boring insects going on in this pepper tree. I'm not the foremost expert on pepper trees, California peppers. Although I almost took a litigation case involving about 12,000 of them. So I didn't get hired. Oh, well. Anyways, moving on. Hopefully that helps. John's asking, anyone know what is on my oak tree? Critters. Looks like leaf miners, maybe. Yeah, you got some bugs. Those are gall. Those are essentially chalcid wasps that are stinging the leaves, and they're laying their eggs in there. And the eggs, the larvae grow up. Those are those little tiny holes that you're seeing there. Excuse me, I had some pizza earlier with my son. It's not working out well for me. But yeah, you got some. Those are some gall. Here's a cool video I did a while back. Yeah, I do. I have permission to view my own channel. Thank you very much. Let me send you a video here because that can give you some guidance on it. The main thing there is you want to increase the health and vitality of the tree, and the tree will take care of itself. So not really. I'm not really offended about those guys, but it's worth doing a little bit of gallbladder. What the heck? What the heck? Gallop? No. Where's my YouTube studio, y'all? Hold on just a second, John. I gotta wait for the interwebs to work. Go. What's that bumpy growth, y'all? I don't know if you can hear this or not. That's not my hand, by the way. Normal. Yeah, that happened. I did that video. That happened. I'm sorry, y'all. But yeah, gulls are generally not a problem. There is one called oak. I can't remember. Oh, no, you gotta shut up on me. All right. Yeah, there is one that attacks oak trees that can be harmful to the tree and cause long-term damage. But for the most part, galls are generally aesthetic. They're not so pretty, but they don't do a whole lot of harm to the tree. So hope that helps. Bob Bell's asking, arborvitae 4 to 5 years old, buds turning brown, normal, or something to worry about? On the ends there, that is something to worry about. Let's see what you got going on here, Bob. Lucas, can you hear my daughter screaming in the background? That's good. She's screaming. she's a very well-spoken young lady. I don't know where she gets that. Yeah, you got something attacking it, Bob. I'm not sure exactly what. One thing you can try, and Lucas, remind me, we got to reach out to Monterey again and see about getting on their vendor list, because I would love to carry Monterey's neem oil. Neem oil is a really great option. What I'm wondering maybe going on too is you might have some mites, some spider mites going on, Bob. One thing that you could do is just give it a little test. It's a real simple one. Just grab like a white sheet of paper like this and just take the branches. This is going to be a branch for now. Oh, there you go. It's got multiple branchlets. And just shake it over the white paper. If you're old like me, you might need a magnifying glass. Look down. What you're looking for is these 4 legs on either side, 8 legs total. They're in the arachnid family, therefore they have 8 legs. Little critters running around, and they'll just be trying to figure out where the next food source is. So you'll see them pretty clearly. Like I said, sometimes you need a little hand lens. So get on Amazon if you need to. Get you a cheap little $5 or $10 hand lens, and that might be pretty good. But if it is mites, then you've got a multi problem. You've got an overall health problem with the tree, and you've also got a bug problem. Health is the most important thing to address. The tree, by the way, y'all, trees have resources. They have their own immune systems. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is that could be normal. Ezekiel Tree Wizard or Willard? I know so many tree wizards out there. Yeah, normal. Everybody's saying normal. I'm gonna say normal too. I think that's a pretty fair analysis. Everything else on. Oh no, where'd it go? Oh no, I did it again. Help me, Lucas One Kenobi. You're my only hope. Bob Bell. I don't know where Bob Bell is. He's on August 27th, right? We're on September 2nd. This is crazy, you guys. Y'all are pumping out like 20 to 40 questions per day. How does a poor young arborist like me, strapping young arborist or whatever, actually I'm past my prime, y'all. I'm getting old. That in like 4 months, I will qualify for a it's called Geezers in the Treesers, or it used to be anyways. It's now called Legends Tree Climbing Competition. If you notice, I'm not really in great tree climbing shape anymore. I'm more in like tree talking shape. But that would be, if, once some of these guys that I used to compete with that are now in the Legends Tree Climbing Championship go away and they get too old, maybe I'll consider it. Some of those guys are unbelievable and they stayed in shape. I didn't. I got a different shape, like round. I'm working on that too, though, y'all. I'm not going to die of heart disease. That's not going to. Oh, on a live, excuse me. All right, so we're trying to find Bob Bell's question. I'm sorry. There it is. Yeah, I think you're okay, Bob. One thing you can do is just give it a little extra resources. These Humates Plus are great, but I also really love this Ocean Harvest as well. This is like a general fertilizer, and it might really go a long ways to give them some extra resources. So give it a shot. It's not a huge investment for possibly a huge benefit. So hopefully that helps. What happened? Oh, that's what. No, I would never do that, Lucas. I didn't reset it again. That's definitely something I would do, y'all. All right. Short video from Larissa. What's up, Larissa? My billy goats cut out and stripped my birch. Oh, that stinks. Oh, my goodness. Is there anything I can do to save them? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what is this? I've discovered a remedy for this. Go buy a can of Flex Seal and paint it onto the damaged area. It forms a rubber seal of the wound that stretches as the tree grows. It's a construction product with a lot of phytotoxicity in it. I just added that portion of my own. Y'all don't put rubber on your trees. They're not rubber trees. I'll pray for your tree, baby. I love it. Hey, listen, I'm not trying to razz on you, Tammy, but I'm not a fan of using any type of chemicals on tree wounds like that. We've actually got a lot of research that shows it actually inhibits growth. If you do have to do something, let me show you one that I actually love that does a really good job. And this is one, Lucas, we might consider getting into their good side as well. And see if we can become a distributor for them. But Lac Balsam is the name of it. They call it artificial tree skin. That's not true. But it's got some really good stuff that will actually help the tree to seal over. So it's not the cheapest stuff in the world, but it's well worth it. And yeah, give it a shot on that. But before you do that, what I would actually do is give it some resources to try to recover that wound, because if you give it the right resources, it actually will generate its own recovery. But I'll be honest, it's probably a lost cause. Not gonna lie. I hate to say be the bearer of bad news, and I'm an optimistic realist though. As I'm optimistic, but only to a point. Those billy goats, they've done tore it up, Larissa. I'm sorry. Yeah, that stinks. But yeah, give it a shot with some of that stuff. And then the what would work good too is where are we at, Lucas? We want some soil and plant energy. Super cheap. It's actually basically just molasses and humates. So give it a shot of these guys. And then if you really have to, go ahead and seal it up. But honestly, you're actually better off leaving it open because it's going to need oxygen to heal those wounds. So leave it alone. Give it the best shot that you can. If you want to get really technical, try some bridge grafting. But man, that's getting into some really serious. That's like, I've never even tried that, y'all. But I know people have done it with success. And but unfortunately, I think you might have to regrow those trees or that tree from the base of it. Oh, they just ate all of it right where their faces are. That stinks. I'm sorry, Larissa. That stinks. All right. Hope that helps. And we're moving on. I'm reaching out for assistance with my 4 large Majesty Palm Revenue plants. Can you share your expertise or recommend a local contact in Houston? What's up, neighbor? Yeah, I can probably help you out. I don't think you need as much help as you think I do, though. I'm assuming you're going to keep those plants inside, which is the best way to do it in Houston, Texas, because let's face it, about 10 months out of the year, we're tropical-ish. About 2 months out of the year, we are not tropical. And so those tropical plants generally don't do well. So you're way better off LMI leaving that inside, or even maybe taking it out during the summer, bringing it back in during the winter. But I would not put it outside. And yeah, hit me up. I'd love to help you if you want a little closer look. I do help my neighbors here locally, though. So you know, I don't market, I don't advertise for local tree work, but it naturally comes in. I participate in some political games and things like that. People get my name and number and reach out. But I'll shoot you my my phone number, my office phone number. And then, of course, arboristonDemand.com. I'm tired today, y'all. I just finished a big litigation report. Sent it over to him. Had a great conversation. This is one where there's a mortality involved. Unfortunately, a guy got smushed by a tree, and that's all I can tell you about it until the case has been done, and there's no chance for appeals. But my brain hurts, y'all, because I had to get into some serious technical data involving like industry standards and things like that. And that always just hurts my brain a little, but that's a normal thing, I think. So, all right, we got a black gum tree with these encircling roots. Wow, 27 comments, and you got Guy Mayer and Michael Gabriel's on your side. Holy cow, you got some awesome arborists there. Follow their advice. Hose down that area so you can see where the roots start. Good idea to prune the interior one now and the outer one later in a year or two. Yeah, I agree. I think follow Guy's advice. Great comments here. This definitely needs to be addressed. I assume you're in the south. Wait until late fall, as summer's not ideal time to address the stress, to add stress. Yeah, you got some solid advice here, man. I would follow those. And if you want a closer look at it, we can do some, exact pruning. We can, but I think you're okay. I think you got some solid advice. Take that advice because we got some awesome arborists on here. By the way, Guy is one of my heroes. He is somebody that I've learned a ton from over the years. Looks like he just visited Ukraine. That's pretty cool. And Michael is a local. He's our soon-to-be second registered consulting arborist in the Houston area. Top-notch arborist all around. You got talking to you, Nick. So follow that advice and best of luck. Oh, you're in Maryland. Okay. Yeah, you're in Maryland. So yeah, that is classic. By the way, y'all, I see it so often. Whenever you plant a brand new tree, make sure it gets done right and make sure they amend the root system while they're planting it to make sure to give it the best shot of success. So there are actually ANSI A300 standards for how to plant a tree properly, and they did that wrong. There are actually ANSI Z 60.1 standards as well for nursery stock management, and they did it wrong. There's no ANSI police that exists, by the way. So unfortunately, we have to be the ANSI police. I hope that helps, Nick. Moving on. All right, we've recently bought a home that came with Loppy. I believe a winged elm. I believe a winged or a lace cedar elm, rather. Francis, what's up? You had another question earlier. That's fun. All right, so let's address this first one. Looks like it has lost a large side of it at some point. I would say lost or some jerk done cut it. I don't think that was necessary. It looks like, but yeah, that you're right to come here and ask these questions. Small branches are growing in the middle of one side, but not on the other. This poor old tree is also riddled with woodpecker holes. Anything to know/do to help it grow healthier? Maybe know how to help it grow on its empty side. Yes, absolutely. So those are not woodpecker holes. Those are actually sapsucker holes. They are another bird. Anytime you see like a line going around of all these little dots all the way around, that's generally going to be a sapsucker. Let's see. We got a bunch of comments. Let's see what people are saying here. Firewood, not elm. Elm will ruin your log splitter. It'll destroy your arms and your log splitter all in one. Here's a thought. Maybe try training it to straighten up. You would do it to a smaller tree, 2 stakes in the ground, take a rope from one up and around tree into the other stake. I would use a ratchet strap to get tension and slowly pull back tree. Not all at once, but a little over time. I would not. And there's a couple reasons why. Anytime you're going around the tree, you're actually girdling the tree. So the vascular tissue on those deciduous trees are on the outer 1 to 2 layers. Oh my goodness. This is like the best comment. I think this is so simple. Josh, you rock, dude. Way to go, man. Cambistat, that is paclobutrazole. Propiconazole injection, I disagree with. I don't think it needs it, from what I'm seeing. But propiconazole is a fungicide. Fertilization, aeration, and structural pruning in the winter. Thank you, Josh. You rock. Lucas, go ahead and tag this dude because he's awesome. That is brilliant advice. And that's the best reply I've seen so far. Let's see. Of course, that's your best bet. You'll be spending a pretty penny, but if it works, then it's worth it, in my opinion. Yes, paclobutrazol is like awesome. I'm really big fan of keep it natural, keep it organic, but paclobutrazol is a growth regulator that stunts the outward growth of the tree, reduces the tree's ability to grow outward and grow in length. What that does is it forces the tree to reallocate those resources towards growth, towards immunofunctions, towards strengthening woody tissue, toward strengthening root system, improved rooting, things like that. There's actually studies that prove that paclobutrazol across the board increases root mass significantly, like sometimes up to like 20% on smaller trees. Not on that, but hey, a good 5% increased rooting can go a long ways on a mature tree like that. I agree. I think maybe what I would do, and let's just go through this because this is a really great example. I'm going to pull up the good old, not that. I don't want that. I want this. There we go. Don't need you. Don't need you. All right, so check this out. So we've got Francis's tree. Maybe. I don't think we got it. Copy image. There we go. Now we're good. Now we're cooking with peanut oil, y'all. What I would do is I would take a ton of the weight off of the ends of it, and you're going to want to make cuts like this. Reduce some of those branches without reducing all of them. And this is one of those you really got to have somebody that knows what in the world they are doing. Otherwise, you can really mess it up. But I would basically reduce the leverage on that side. That pruning will actually force growth into the middle over here where you want it to, over in like this. My mouse. Over in this region. That's where you want your growth. You want all of this stuff to start growing over there. But in the meantime, what you could do is just make little itty bitty teensy. I already covered that one. Little itty bitty teensy tiny cuts that will reduce the canopy height on that left side. That will force growth on the right side. And again, you want a top-notch professional that knows what they're doing here, because I would trust maybe 2% of certified arborists out there. And it looks like Josh might be one of those. I love it, dude. Way to go. That is some solid advice. Somebody knows what they're talking about. Well done, buddy. But yeah, you've got some solid advice there, Dana. Francis, excuse me. Follow that advice. The rest of it, don't worry about it. With that lean and damage, I personally would suggest having it removed and plant something else in its place. Leaners are a potential hazard to your home and family. Excuse me, but BS. Not always. I disagree. Courtney, who are you? Case tree care. You know, whenever you see the word tree care or tree service, assume they mean tree unalivers. Most tree guys are tree murderers. So unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast. And by the way, I've done hundreds, if not thousands, of crane removals. I love a good demolition job. It's really fun, but there's a time and a place for it. Most of the time, we're doing pruning. My least favorite part of the business, having to take a tree out. My son and I have a handshake to honor the Lorax on every removal that we do. I love it. Yeah, but I'll be honest. I just don't think that's true. I don't think you. Oh, yeah, shoot. Francis, if it's only going to hit your fence, don't worry about it. Forget about it, as they say up north. Yeah, I'd leave it alone. If it's not going to hit the house, if it's going to damage the fence, okay, whatever. You replace a few pickets and some rails, and it might cost you $100 at Home Depot. Not a big deal. If you got to buy an extra $50 chair to go with it, whatever. Not a big deal. If it hits your family and your home, very big problem. So, yeah, I think you've got, man, that's a great question, Francis. I really appreciate you you coming in with an awesome question like that. With old Loppy, the winged elm. Great question, and we are moving on. Elizabeth is asking, these are young pear and peach tree. What is this nonsense? Is it fire blight? I can tell you for an absolute fact, it is not fire blight. I think you're okay on fire blight. Erwinia amylivora is the, yeah. Okay, so JK, coming in with some brilliant. Yes, paclobutrazol is extremely expensive. Let me show you one that isn't. This stuff. Well, I say it's not. It's still expensive, but significantly less expensive. I buy the off-brand just like I buy ibuprofen. I don't buy Advil. Why? Because I can get 100 of them for the price of 20. Same thing with the paclobutrazols. I'm not here to support Bayer and all those big companies. Bayer is an offshoot of Nazis too, by the way, if you hadn't done your research. Can I say that on Facebook, Lucas? Maybe I shouldn't say things. Yeah, y'all look up Operation Paperclip. Bayer is a German company that is, they used to deal, I won't go into details there. That's not my, very, very bad scientific studies involving humans and, well, I'll just let you infer the rest. But yeah, very bad company. They don't make paclobutrazol. Bayer doesn't. But all those big companies, they have their marketing to do. And Tide Paclo is one that I found that is a really results from it. And yeah, it's a great product. Plain and simple, a couple $100 maybe. You can do about 20 trees for that. It's like medium-sized trees. So yeah, paclobutrazol is expensive. I had to go up on my numbers a little bit for some of our treatments recently. So what you've got going on here, Elizabeth, you've got some bugs chewing on it. I can see that with the if it'll load. You've got some maybe caterpillars or worms of some sort chewing on the leaves, and then you've got looks like a little unalive back. A little bit of fungal pathogen. That could be a borer, or that could be a, hey, great to have you here, by the way, JK. Yeah, Lucas just said the same. Hey, thanks for being here. You've always been such a great support of this whatever we're doing here, these cute tree talks we do. And I really appreciate you being here. And y'all, for those of you that don't know, we've been doing this for what? This is our 20th episode, so maybe like 16 weeks there. And JK's been here since the beginning. And we're going places. We're going to do this every week for the rest of my life, probably. So, I'll keep showing up and learning a thing or two about trees. Now, Elizabeth, I want to see what the roots look like. I want to see what the base of the tree looks like. You've definitely got some fungal pathogens going on here. What I can say is maybe you've got a little bit of an issue with drainage. And they look like younger trees. They don't look like super young, but they look like younger trees. Which one's a pear? I don't see a pear. Those are pear. That's a peach. Faux show. Peach. Oh, that's a pear. I think, is it? I don't know. No, that's peach. Yeah, you got peach trees. That's a fungal pathogen, and some worms are chewing on it. So you can use neem oil. Oh, Christine, thank you so much for your comments too. By the way, Christine is just an awesome contributor to this channel as well, and she's been so helpful. That's a really great point. We got to see some better pictures. And yeah, if you could do that, Elizabeth, that would be helpful. It doesn't look like you're anywhere. Harvey's asking, okay, so we planted this tree, I think a Japanese maple, in the main trunk unalived. These sprouts are growing from the stump. So is there a way to take cuttings and reroot them? Yeah, or just let it grow from the stump. Oh, did we have a picture? Oh, here we go. What's up, Harvey? I see you. Oh, man, that's a messy tree. That tree is chlorotic as can be. You've got a soil problem. You've got a really, really big soil problem. This is my favorite thing to fix soil problems. Doesn't work every time, but it works most of the time. And if that fails, what you can do is you can try this one as well, because this is actually going to give the plant what it needs, whereas the Humates Plus are going to revamp the soil to long-term feeding the plant what it needs. The Ocean Harvest is a really great way to get by, though, first of all. So hope that helps, Harvey. We're moving on. Wondering what type of nuts are on the right? Me too. Upstate New York. There's a bad joke in there somewhere, I'm sure. On the left are... Oh, man. I'm in this group of people that were pro trees. And we have this here in Houston. And we've got this biker club, Bike Houston, that they, for whatever reason, don't like trees. They want to unalive all the trees around here. So they got this like rebel protest thing going on where they're going to ride around the city of Houston naked. I told them, if I sent an email, it's like, if I see that, that's called pornography. We're not going to do that. And I am calling the police on them. And also, I might accidentally bump into them to where they fall. And you probably want a little skin clothes on to protect your skin. Anyways, I don't know how I got. What were we talking about? Fruit? Is that what we were talking about? Sorry. Bad bunny trail, y'all. On the left are shagbark hickory. I recognize that. Middle are butternut. I don't recognize that. What are the three on the right? Looks like hickory. To me, it looks like pecan, actually. Yeah, those look like pecan, which is funny because pecans are actually in the walnut, or in the hickory family, rather. So very close. Figured it out. They're bitter nuts. Yeah, there you go. Great. I don't know what bitter nuts are. So you got butternuts and bitter nuts. That's fun. I love words. All right, we're moving on. Sandra Camacho, I'm very concerned about this tree. It's a Natchez white crepe myrtle. I have 12 others, and all the rest of them, all the others look great. Still dark green and full. They're all about 3 years old. I don't use any chemicals. I haven't put any fertilizer closer than a foot away, and carefully measured. We have sprinklers. Could this be a bug or fungus? Actually, you want to stay away from even a foot away. I would not do any type of fertilizer on newly planted trees. 3 years old is newly planted. Yeah, so all of these, it looks like, were buried. The root flares were buried. It's very important to plant a tree properly. Let me see if I can find that video, because I made a how to plant a tree properly video. I just posted up here just for kicks and giggles. It's like my least favorite video that I ever did. How to plant a tree so it doesn't unalive, a step-by-step. Yeah, I got like 92 views on it ever too, so that's not good. So that's just a little video that I did. Here's the how to fix it if it's already been planted. Because sometimes there's nothing you could do about it. It's too late. But that's another great video. Oh, I meant to post that here actually. Yeah, what I would try is radial trenching. I want to see you stay away from all the fertilizers, period, though. Don't fertilize your tree else. Fertilizer is like the biggest, other than medical insurance. Do crepe myrtles break the rule of desiring to be a Christmas tree? What do you mean by that, JK? I'm not fully comprehending there. That's a remark on me, not you. Crepe myrtles break the rule of desiring to. You know what that means, Lucas? Yeah. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I see what you're saying. Yes. So there are multiple different forms of growth for a tree. That's a great question, actually. So let's go to it. You got X current, you got D current. And I always get the two mixed up. So I'm sorry if I get it mixed up. Y'all can Google just like I can. X current. You got trees that grow up, and you got little subordinate branches off of that. That is the Christmas tree that JK is in reference to. Yes, some trees, however, grow out. So you got branches here, you got branches here, you got branches here, you got branches here. And so a lot of these are just genetic programmings into the tree, and that's perfectly normal. So like live oaks, for example, they don't want to grow up. They want to grow out. They want to spread very wide. That's just their genetic programming taking a play into it. You also have things like environmental factors and functional limitations. So let's say you've got a big old live oak or a big old red oak or something. That's the horriblest tree that ever did tree. And then right next to it, you got a conifer of some sort. Well, once it gets to a certain point, first of all, you're not going to get a lot of good growth in this region. Most of it's going to want to push out there. We call that phototropic growth. Photo meaning light and tropic meaning growth towards. So phototropic growth, we see it all the time. What you'll see is these trees will start to reach their canopy out beyond the other shade shape portion of it. So what you'll see these funny growth patterns, very normal. Usually as the tree's growing, it's getting stronger where it needs to. So imagine you've got a tree, the wind's blowing and it whips around. What's happening as it's whipping around in the wind is it's micro fracturing all along the branches, all along the trunk, and even down into the root system. So as the wind blows up here, it has an effect. All that energy goes way down throughout the entire tree, and trees are unbelievably cool about mitigating those forces. And so what happens is they will put wherever the tree is weakest. So you've got phototropic growth, and then you've got geotropic growth. Geotropic growth is usually in reference to gravity. And so what happens is now you've got this tree is growing this way, phototropism, but you've also got the gravity is pulling all that leverage up here down. And so what happens is the tree is going to strengthen itself on the back side, on the tension side, and on the compression side. And it'll get stronger where it needs to. So us dudes, we have a great drug called testosterone. And so when we go to the gym, that testosterone, as we're breaking down the muscle fibers, it tells our body to fill in the gaps. And so that's why we drink our protein shakes or whatever afterwards. And what happens is that's going to build that muscular tissue. Some people do hardcore drugs too. That's not good. I don't recommend it, but a lot of people do. Same thing happens is that's kind of artificially telling the body to fill in the gaps, to strengthen muscular tissue. And so whenever you see, like, forget all of this, whenever you see a tree like a branch union, let me try to draw a little more detailed picture. You got a tree, it's got to have root hairs because that's just wrong if it doesn't. Let's say you got a branch that comes off right off the base of it. What you'll notice is a lot of times you'll get all this extra woody tissue at the base there. And what that is, we call it reaction wood. We call it callus wood tissue, or reaction wood is the proper term. And so what that is essentially tree muscle. That's all it is. It's the tree is putting extra resources there to strengthen all of this region because all of those forces are moving around. That's directly applied here. So the tree's going to get stronger, just like going to the gym. So there's your tree physiology lesson 101 for the day. And let's keep going, guys. But I hope that's pretty insightful to you. So how do we even talk about? Oh, yeah, single trunk straight up. Yes. So in answer to your question, JK, sorry. Single trunk straight up. Limbs grow out. Crepe myrtles do break that rule. Yes, multi-stem crepe myrtles are not uncommon. They are very similar to the ficus trees, where you'll have a boatload of aerial roots that'll come down, and then they'll produce all of those. Not aerial roots, but you'll have like multi-stem trunks that will fuse together, and essentially they'll become one trunk. So I'm not too offended when I say see crepe myrtles like that. I'll be honest though, crepe myrtles are not my favorite tree. The more I get to know about them, and I by the way, I sat on a board of directors for a nonprofit called the Crepe Myrtle Trails of McKinney. We have the largest collection of crepe myrtles. This is almost blasphemy what I'm speaking here, but crepe myrtles they're fine. They grow well in the South. They grow well in a lot of places actually. But they are an invasive species, so they're not the best tree to have. So if you can plant something native, that's usually better. But, climate's changing. Things are changing. What we're finding is some introduced species do better short-term and possibly long-term and outcompete some of the natives. So anyways, hope that helps, JK, and hope that helps, Sandra. But, yeah, what I would think is you've probably got a very toxic situation in the soil, even though I know you say you're a foot away. Those roots are a foot away. Those roots are 10 feet away by now, maybe. So, yeah, I think you've got a toxic issue going on with that, and possibly a drainage issue. I think there's too much water sitting on that trunk. But I don't use any chemicals. I haven't put any fertilizer closer than a foot away and carefully measured. We have sprinklers. Could this be a bug or a fungus? It could be a fungus. I don't think it is. I think it's abiotic because of the consistency. Anytime you see like really consistent damage throughout the whole thing, it's usually almost always abiotic. So I think you've got an abiotic condition. What I mean by that is non-living. So not a fungus, not a bug, probably a drainage issue. Do that radial trenching, and go ahead and add this Humates Plus. That'll go a long ways, I think. So give it a shot and let me know how it goes. Hope that helps, Sandra. Moving on. Austin's asking, I'm looking for advice on this Florida maple. Well, first of all, don't get a maple in Florida. They do about as well as they do here in Texas. It was professionally planted in January of 2024. Professionally only means you paid money, by the way. That doesn't mean they know what they're doing. And began losing leaves in April of 2024. It was watered daily for several months as instructed, and then watered as needed. Oh my goodness. And then watered as needed during dry spells in our lovely Panhandle summer. Now, I will say this, Panhandle's got a little sandier soil typically, so you might be okay on the drainage, but it has been well watered by lots of rain this summer, but new growth continues to unalive back, and leaves in the other areas are shriveled as pictures, making me think it's something else and possibly out of control. I'm ready to rip it out and plant something else this fall, but don't want to unalive it if it's something that could be fixed. Thanks in advance. Yeah, I think it is something that can be fixed. Let me refer you to this one too. I think what happened, and just going off to the history there, just going off the history rather, you've probably got, oh yeah, planted while it's root bound. It has a bunch of girdling roots that weren't addressed and also planted too deep. Yes, that is exact. This is the fix for that, by the way. Pedrito, well done, dude. That's some solid advice, I think. Yeah, that's not good. Yep, you've got a buried root flare. You've got a tree that was probably professionally planted wrong. There are ANSI A300 standards for how to plant a tree. And wait a minute, I got that video still. Let's just check it out. This is how you don't need to pay a fortune for some jerk that knows less than you do to plant your tree, by the way. Most of the time, especially on a tree that small, you can actually get away with just planting it yourself. Just make sure to break up the roots. Make sure to plant it 2 to 3 times as wide as the actual root ball itself. So if you got a 1-inch root ball, go a 1 foot root ball, go 3 feet wide. That's going to be very important. So hope that helps, Austin. And like I said, if you need help for beyond that, feel free to hit us up on arboristonDemand.com, and I'd love to take a look at it, maybe a little closer, see if we can help you out there. But that should be, actually, I'm going to recommend doing this stuff too, is the Humates Plus. Yeah, the more I learn about this, Humates Plus is like, it's basically composted compost. It's like broken down. It's compost that's broken down a second time. And so it's very, very, very concentrated tree life. It's going to feed the microbes. It's going to feed the fungus, the beneficial stuff, of course. It's going to feed the tree itself, and it's going to chemically flocculate the soil to open it up a little bit. Now, in Florida and the Panhandle, you probably don't have too many issues with compaction because of the sandy content. Although in the Panhandle, maybe you've got some more clay-based areas in there, and it looks like you might be in one of them. I don't know. But yeah, that to me looks like a water issue through and through. I'm just going to diagnose it as that and say you probably got to get some more drainage going on or extra water, but I don't think it's extra water. I think it's your water sitting in there, and yes, that can eventually cause fungal problems. So make sure to get those things corrected. Now, Humates Plus, like I said, is a wonder drug. It's like taking probiotics for humans. Just keep it going. All right, moving on. Located northeast Utah, Will's got a tree. At the place I work, some of the ash trees started unaliving and discovered they have bug damage. I was thinking EAB, but according to research, they aren't in Utah. Any other idea what it could be? Or has EAB entered Utah? That doesn't actually look like EAB to me. EAB, by the way, y'all, is emerald ash borer. Emerald ash borer came across from shipping containers in 2002. I'm not reading this. This is just... kind of looks like I'm reading this off the like a script or something. Now, EAB came through 2002 from China on shipping containers. Ground zero was Milwaukee, I believe. And what we found was the emerald ash borer. There wasn't a lot of research out there. So like in China, the trees, the Formosan ash trees and all that actually had gotten used to those bugs. And so nobody really ever studied it. It's not an issue over there. It does, it does some damage, but it's not big, not major. They come over here, just like there's so many diseases over the years, over the decades and centuries and millennia that have, you take foreigners, you come to a new land and they bring with it their own unique set of diseases. Well, the people there do not have the immunities to handle those diseases. Not scarlet fever. I'm drawing a blank on the one. Spanish flu. Spanish flu in the Native Americans is a good example. And the guys here did not have it, but I'm actually, and same thing with emerald ash borer. The trees in China, they're used to it. Trees here are not used to it. What we're finding, just like with American hemlocks, or the hemlocks here in America, the woolly adelgid came in and just wiped out whole forests of hemlock. Same thing is going on with the emerald ash borer. Up north, you've got forested areas that are almost all, smallpox, another great example. Exactly, JK. Yeah, so you've got so many circumstances over the generations that have come in, and so they're still talking about those naked bikers on my email. Yeah, I keep getting notifications while we're looking at it. They're cracking me up. Y'all quit. Just stop it. Just stop it. I'm trying to work here, you guys. Yeah, they aren't in Utah. Here's the thing with that is it doesn't, to me, it doesn't look like EAB. Let me show you one that does. Photos. Oops. FOTS. That'll work. Bear with me, guys. I'll remember that. Where are we at? Here we go. I only jumped to this because I know it's there. EAB, that is emerald ash borer. I do not see what you've got as emerald ash borer. I do see it as most certainly bugs, borers that are going on and attacking those trees. By the way, cute little critters, those EABs. Look at them. He's so green and pretty. But unfortunately, they're a really, really big problem. Now, it's not in Utah that I know of either. However, that doesn't mean it's not going to be there. I think it will very, very soon. What you've got is extremely stressed trees that the borers came in and they started wiping out. Yeah, that doesn't look like the classic Z-shaped zigzag galleries that happen on emerald ash borer. So I think you're okay on that, but you've definitely got some borers going on and attacking it. Where are you at? Well, Utah, you said. Man, look at that background, man. I'm jealous. Houston's just flat and boring. They look like honeycomb. Yeah, those do. That's much more. That's that. I don't think that's EAB. You usually get like a D-shaped hole in it too. Those are round holes. So I'd be looking into some other type of borer. But yeah, you might want to treat it, get an arborist in there to really take care of it. Beetle, potentially ash borer. I don't think it's ash borer, but that could be wrong. All right. Marla's saying this spot appeared on our tree about 5 days ago. Not sure what kind of tree it is, but looking for any possible idea to what is going on with the tree and how to fix it. Please help a new to trees person out located in Alabama. I love that you're asking out for help. A couple things here. Whoa. Huh. Yeah, you got that's either bleeding wound canker or I don't think it's a borer. It looks more canker to me. No, y'all stop with the chemicals. Bio advanced tree and shrub treatment. Bio advanced, I believe, is Bayer. We were just talking about Bayer, weren't we? All them Nazis. Sorry, I can't say that on FaceWebs. I'm sorry, overlords. All right, this spot appeared on our tree. So you got a problem with the root flares being buried. That's going to be really, really important to get those taken care of. That looks like a bleeding wound canker to me. I don't think that's a borer of any sort. I could be wrong. It's happened more than once in my life, y'all. But just symptom-wise, it doesn't look like a borer. To me, it looks like a bleeding wound canker. There's a couple different things I want you to try, and you're not going to hurt my feelings if you say just cut your loss, because you might be fighting an uphill battle here. But if you can, these are going to help any plant that you put them on, so it's worth purchasing. Where is my? There we go. Liquid AF. I love this stuff. AF does not stand for what you think for, you perverts. It stands for antifungal. And it's really, really an awesome product. You want to mix it about 1-to-1 ratio with molasses. And then the other one I would do is this Humates Plus again. I know I sound like a broken record here, you guys, but these things are essentially life for a tree. So hit them fast, hit them hard, and do it weekly for now. And then eventually you want to step into monthly. That also could be like a bacterial wet wood type situation here. Let's see what the other the other arborists are saying. The root collar excavation for, yes, Nick, you rock. Great advice. Solid advice. Do that. Slime flux. Yeah, it looks like slime flux is bacterial. And you post a picture of the first root growing away from the trunk. Many times trunk issues start with root issues. He is spot on. Guy, you rock. Could be an insect borer, but it could be a bullet stuck in it. It depends on if you're in the hood or not. I love it. That's awesome. Or in the out in the sticks too. We do that out here in the country sometimes. I got a bunch of friends who shoot on their property. All right. Paul's asking, I noticed this tree on the this growing on the bark of my live oak. Any idea what it is, or any advice on if needs to be treated to prevent damage to the tree? South Louisiana in Atchafalaya Basin, however you pronounce it. Southern live oak. Oh man, that's a bark fungus. You're okay. That looks like Perinoporia to me. I spelled it wrong, so I got to get perin. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Perinoporia. I don't know what that is actually. That's weird. Shutterstock. I'm assuming Shutterstock doesn't know trees very well. 2 new species of Perinoporia sensuleto polypiralis. Yeah. Genus Perinoporia, really common bark fungus. It actually does not have the enzymes to break down the lignins and the cellulose in the actual living tissue of the tree. So generally speaking, it's not going to attack the tree. You get this a lot on, hey, thanks for the like there. Whoever did that, y'all rock that. Hey, for those of you that are with us, that would actually really help out a lot if y'all don't mind going and hitting that like button. That way it kind of just pushes it out there for the algorithms to push it out a little bit more. That helps out more than y'all know, guys. So please do that as much and as often as you want to. You're not going to hurt my feelings. So, Paul, I think you're okay, actually. That looks like a bark fungus, not a wood decay fungus. It doesn't have the Perinoporia. Hey, what's up, guy? My thoughts exactly. That is too funny. Hey, this is how you know that I'm actually getting better at what I do, is when guys like that, I say something and it turns out he's agreeing with it. Please do not. Please do not follow. Please do not cut your tree down because of a rash on it. I love that. TexasMushrooms.org. That's a great website too, by the way. If y'all want to have some fun, go to TexasMushrooms.org. Go down the rabbit hole. It goes red pill. It doesn't matter. Like that rabbit hole goes deep, y'all. All right. So great, solid advice from Guy there. And we're moving on. Texas Tree Service Franchises by Arbo Manager. We're the first arborist franchise in Europe, and our journey began in Poland, where over a dozen branches are already operating. Today, we're expanding into new EU markets. How does the arborist industry work in your country? Other franchise models or companies operate independently? That's actually a solid question. Yeah, no, I'm actually good with that. I'm going to tell them. Yeah, no, that's a solid question. I love that. Tree Service franchise by Arbor Manager. We actually do have some franchises in the Houston area, or in the Americas, across the pond from you. There's one in particular called Monster Tree Service, and they are monsters at what they do. Their name says it all. So yeah, I don't think that's the most common business model. It's usually like some punk kid that decided to be a rebel and quit working for his boss, who runs a big tree company in the area, go start his own gig. So most of it's small time guys like me. That's how I started out. And I disagreed with the guy I was working with, and it turns out I was right on some of my argument points. But yeah, most of them are like that. We do have some big box companies like Davey, like Bartlett, like Save a Tree. Most of them are individuals who went out and tried to do something cool with their life, somebody's dream. So yeah, great question though. I love that. All right. So Anonymous is asking, where you at? No, we don't. Hello, I was wondering if anybody could help me figure out what is going on with my silver maple tree the last few years. Where'd you go? In the midsummer, the leaves started to drop and turn a yellow color. Any help would be greatly appreciated. What's up, guy? Come hang out with us on our little live stream here, buddy. I was just razzing on you a little bit in a good way. All right. Turn a yellow color midsummer. That is a stressed tree. It looks like you've been over pruning the daylights out of it, maybe, but it hasn't been done in a while. So I'm actually good with that. I would need to see some pictures of up close on the roots. I want to see the trunk flares and see what it looks like. That is a maple for sure. Sugar, silver, one of those. Sugar maple, silver maple, I don't know. But yeah, you've got a really stressed tree. It looks like there's some concrete around it, maybe. It looks that construction fencing. Lucas, can you see that? Can you try to maybe like enhance the color on it on your end, Lucas? That almost looks like construction fencing to me. If it is construction fencing, that you may have some construction damage going on there. If it's just looks like construction fencing, maybe not, but I do see on the back side. Oh yeah, it is. That was temporary construction fencing. Yeah, it's hard to see. Hey, try to send me some better pictures because I'm really having trouble seeing it. Yeah, that looks like a temporary fencing to me. That looks like construction damage. So I would look into restoring after construction damage. You're going to have compaction. You're going to have phytotoxicity, which is essentially toxicity for phytos trees. What you want to do is reculture the soil a little bit and see if you can perk it up a little. Because, yeah, that's going to be just a holistic overall, everything is stressed. Trees will defoliate if they don't have enough water to sustain. Yeah, pretty high water table. I have another maple about 30 feet away that seems to be doing well. Humates Plus is another great source for that because, hey, that's basically the same. People razz on me for like saying, oh, you can't diagnose on a picture. Well, this is not a diagnosis. That's basically saying, hey, put compost on your soil. That's good for every soil, y'all. So sorry, not sorry. Yeah, root flares are pretty big. But Christine's right. There is a factor where if you've got too much heat and the tree's not doing so hot, it will defoliate. There was a pun in there somewhere. I pull back the soil around the base, expose more of the roots to see if there are more of them. Girdling roots wrapped around the tree can constrict and damage the tree over time. Yeah, I don't think that's it. That's exactly what's going on. Although I think that might be part of the problem. I think what you've got is a construction damaged tree. You've got a compacted soil. I can see here. Little bit of modeling going on there. Modeling, mottling, not modeling like hey or whatever. But yeah, I think you've got a little bit of a compacted soil, and I'll be honest. To me, it seems like there was construction damage that went on here, Anonymous. So, hope that helps, and hit me up if you want to take a closer look. We can always do a closer deep dive inspection, and we call it a digital arborist consultation. So, love to help you out with there if we can, buddy. All right, we're moving on. Susie's saying, please help. I don't want to lose this tree because someone gave it to me after my son unalived away. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, goodness. This is in Brown County. We had cicadas here in Brown County this year. I'm really concerned about the bark falling off. I wouldn't be. I would let it fall off and let the new tissue grow in. This is my weeping willow tree who is very sick. Did we look at this before, Susie? Yes, we did. I remember Susie with a Z. Yeah, so what you're going to do. Oh, no. Let's see what Guy was saying. Guy's talking to me right now. Very common in Florida. Many trees, some of it have some of it somewhere. Lucas, do you have a link to the live stream? Where do I find that? Yeah, I posted on that comment where Guy Mayer was, I don't know, just maybe if you could text it to me. Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh, right on. That's perfect. Save copy link address. What do you mean? Yeah, it's got. I see green tissue. I'm actually. Yeah, I saw some green tissue. So you got a shot there, Susie. Here's what I would do. I would dump this stuff all over, up and around and inside that tree. I'm not worried about the tissue falling off. I think we might have talked about this tree a little while ago, but it means a lot to me. To me, we have cicadas here in Brown County this year. Brown County, that's in Texas, isn't it? Yeah, it's not unalived yet. You got to do some things. You got some maybe frost at the bottom there. Let's see if I can get a closer peek. Take a little gander here. Oh, when a tree climber gets excited, we can't. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, y'all. Then I had to see what was up. Yeah. So, all right, I'm gonna pause it there and zoom in a little if I can. No, I can't. All right. Well, okay. So here's what I'm looking at, Susie. You do have some new growth coming on there. The bark falling off is not the issue. The bark falling off is that tissue was unalived years ago. So it probably happened when it was planted or shortly thereafter. You had some kind of fungus or sun scald or beetle or something came in there and unalived that tissue. I'm not real worried about that unalived tissue. What I am worried about is that the tree doesn't have leaves. That is concerning. Now it is summer. Sometimes they'll defoliate early, but what you want to do, bark shedding usually means the tissue is unalived underneath that. So it's kind of like, like let's say you start getting old and you haven't ever used a pumice stone on your feet. It's like all that unalived tissue can just start to flake off. And that's a bad analogy, isn't it? I'm sorry. But essentially, the tissue, it has been unalived for a long time. What I do see is really good callus tissue. That new wound closure tissue is beautiful. I love to see that. But also, you've got a tree that's not putting out any leaves, and so that's a problem. What I want to, oh, that's terrible. Don't do that again. What I want you to do is maybe reach out to me and let's do a digital arborist consultation. If hey, listen, if money's an issue, like talk to me. Let's work this out. But I love that it's an in memory of tree, especially your son. Like that's terrible that you lost. You want that tree to live forever. It won't, by the way. But what you can do is maybe keep it alive for at least as long as you are. So let's get a good action plan together. That Microlife Soil and Plant Energy is going to be a wonderful resource. It's going to really jumpstart a lot of the biological functions in the tree. But yeah, we got to figure out what's going on with that. You do have some green tissue. What I want you to do is take your thumbnail, take one of the lower branches and scratch just underneath on the underside of the branches and tell me if it's green or if it's brown and dry. If it's green, it means you got life in it. If it's brown and dry, it means it's already gone. And I'm sorry, even doctors can't perform miracles. Only Jesus can. So, anyways, man, I'm really sorry you're dealing with that, Susie. That stinks. But reach out to me. We'll work it out. Even if I got to do it pro bono, we'll figure out a way to do this. But give me a shout. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon. All right, Steven's saying half of this maple is dying. Mountain Home, Idaho. Cool. Idaho. We don't get a lot of Idahoans. Is that how you say it, or is that offensive? Half of this maple is unaliving. Southwest Idaho, no insect damage. Any ideas? That looks fungal, but it also maybe looks herbicidal. That could totally be an herbicide type damage. Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's not good. Good. Yeah. That chlorosis tells me maybe herbicide. The brown tells me maybe something other abiotic like water, too much water or too little. But that doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me. Yeah, that looks like fungus. There's definitely some fungus. That could totally be like herbicide damage mixed with fungus. And then that black discoloration tells me kind of fungus too. So I think, Stephen, you've got a fungal issue. The main thing is you've got to reculture the soil. And I gotta know a little bit too about how your irrigation cycles are. It's a neighbor's tree, elderly person. I'll know their watering schedule. That was my first question. I do know they had a company treat their lawn with herbicide. Bingo, bango, bongo. Called it. Those jerks. I can't. I really, y'all. If you haven't caught it by now, I really don't like those companies that come around in the big box trucks and they got their $80,000 to $120,000 truck and spray rig, and they look so pretty, and they have marketing for days. And yeah, it's a memorial tree. JK, yeah, that just makes me sick to my stomach a little. Actually, that might be just the pizza. I don't know. Yeah, me too. Wish I had more. Luke is saying he wishes he had pizza. Yeah, so you got like you got an herbicide situation going on. It sounds like the watering schedule is very important as well. So get back to me, Stephen, and let's work through this together. Again, I'd love to help you out and get on a digital arborist consultation as well. And maybe we can pinpoint this thing, nail it down, and you can help your elderly neighbor, because that's the right thing to do, y'all. If he doesn't have kids of his own to take care of them, take care of them. And we've had so many cool neighbors over the years that just became like family to us because of that. We had one guy in New Jersey that his wife had dementia, and she would like walk away. She'd run away. She didn't know who her husband was. And so we'd have to go down and find her down at Town Square or whatever, and like bring her back and all that. And man, I still talk to Bill today. He's a great dude. He's man, just a stand-up guy. So okay, here we go. So Susie, we already talked about that. Thank you so much again for your inquiry. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Watering a willow is good. They love water. Tree spikes to feed the tree out to the drip line. Don't do that. Yeah, we already talked about that one. Yeah, don't do tree spikes. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot I did my own little video on it too. Yeah. Yeah, moving on. That cracked me up on video. All right, Susie. Yeah, reach out to me. Let's work through this. We'll make it work. One way or another. We'll get you what you need. All right, what's going on with my tree? Fungus. That is a maple, which you probably should consider removing. All the living tissue is growing towards the house side, and so yeah, it's definitely fungal. I don't know exactly what. I can't really identify it, but based on the very, very limited sources information that I have, I think it's probably time to cut your losses and let it go the way of the dodo. Yeah, I'm sorry. All right. What can you do if tree roots are taking over your grass? Deal with it. Raise the grade of the lawn. Very, very. Oh, yeah. I love it. Unalive the grass. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Guy. I would say get rid of the grass, put in some mulch, and put in some landscape plants. That's a way prettier alternative anyway. Chicago. Looks like a spruce to me. Anybody know? Norway spruce. Yep, spruce. I recommend having an arborist. Wait, what? No, I don't recommend that, Josh. I was agreeing with you earlier. I disagree with that one. Yeah, that sounds like somebody selling a fungicide product. I recommend having an arborist preemptively treat it with reliant fungicide, so it's less likely to get needle cast / blight. No, one way you can actually do the same thing, but like not in a fungicidal manner. Here's the problem with fungicides, you guys. Fungicides unalive everything. They're non-discriminate, most of them. They will unalive the endo and ectomycorrhizals. They'll unalive the pathogenic fungus. So Generally speaking, if you need to do a fungicide, you want to isolate it to the trunk using either trunk injections or trunk spray. You never, ever, 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 ever want to do a broadcast fungicide treatment if you can avoid it. If you have Phytophthora on every plant in your yard, sometimes phosphoric acid is a great solution, but most of these propiconazoles and things like that are going to be extremely toxic to everything that's beneficial to your tree. So I don't like doing the whole preemptive unless you've got like emerald ash borer or something that we know is in the area that we know is going to be a problem. Then you generally don't want to do preemptive treatments. You want to take care of the overall health and vitality of the tree. Make sure that it's got plenty of aeration in the soil. Make sure that it's not struggling in that sense. Make sure it's getting water during drought periods, and otherwise just leave them alone, y'all. Trees have been living for many years before us humans got around to giving them fungicides. So, it's just humble 2 cents. That's the only thing about that. But yeah, if you do have, I don't, honestly, I'm not the foremost expert on needle cast / blight. So I could be wrong in this, but my understanding is it travels through the soil and it's a fungal pathogen. And you've really got to address the soil pathogens if you do have it in the area. So if you see other trees that are getting needle cast blight, then maybe start doing those preemptive treatments. But otherwise, live and let live, and just give it some water when it needs it, and you should be good. Honestly, keep it simple. But if you want to give it a little extra dose, a little extra boost in health benefit, then you can actually use these guys as well. And that'll go a long ways just to give the tree what it needs and keep it trucking along there. So these guys. Oh, and if you do want to do a preventative, this is the stuff to get. It's got bacteria, which are heterotrophic. Many of them, like trichoderma, is actually known to suppress fungal pathogens. Let me look that up real quick because I'm really curious. Rhizosphere needle cast, Lophodermium needle cast on pines. The fungi infect the needles, causing them to yellow, brown, and drop prematurely. Dithostroma on pines or scuria. You'll often see bands or tips on the needles progressing to widespread browning and loss. The needle is casting off its needles due to infection. The blight is in reference to the fungus. So both are those are different, needle cast and needle blight. Both are fungal pathogens, and I don't see any symptoms of that. I don't see any signs whatsoever. So keep it simple, keep it cool, keep your trees healthy and thriving. Water them occasionally, and just don't mess them up too bad. And they generally do pretty good. So. All right, Jennifer's saying, happy Saturday. I have a beautiful red maple on my property. Where are you at? Baltimore. We moved here last year. It looked a bit better. Need to weed whack under the canopy and realize there's a snammer tree growing through its base and roots. I'm guessing pine. Volunteer, maybe? I don't know. I'm assuming it has to be cut out. My concern is that there would be a rotting trunk to the small tree happening in the roots of the cedar tree. Is that problematic? Also, anything I can do to help to keep the maple healthy? This tree is humongonormous. You can do it either way. The problem with having that pine there, pines don't like to be under canopy. That's actually a cedar, by the way. That's a Easter red cedar, maybe. You don't need to do anything. What you can do is transplant that tree. But honestly, I think you'd be better off removing it, because otherwise you are going to have problems with them encroaching. Now, if you left it alone 100% and did not do anything to it whatsoever for any reason at all, then it might be fine. The trees will grow together and they'll get used to each other. The only problem is that when it starts to grow up, it's going to run into that maple and possibly cause problems for both trees. So just be careful. But if it were mine, I'd probably get rid of it. Keep them isolated. Like, it's great to have friends and stuff. But that doesn't mean those friends need to be bumping uglies and rubbing against each other like that. So that's why I couldn't hear you, homie. Lucas is over there. Don't leave me. Did I? My bad, man. I'm sorry. All right, y'all. So we're moving on. Steve's asking, how long will it take this river birch to fill back in? Initially, not very long. Long term for permanent growth, pretty long. So what you want to do is you want to stimulate new growth very rapidly. So a high nitrogen source actually is one of the rare cases where I might recommend it, although I don't recommend it. So if that makes any sense, I know it probably doesn't, but what you can do is spray this stuff right up in the canopy, and that will give it the high nitrogen source that it needs by feeding the bacteria, which will fix those nitrogen out of the air. By the way, y'all, 78% of the air we breathe is freaking nitrogen. So why would you pump nitrogen into the soil? If you got a healthy soil, you don't have to worry about that. So spray that stuff up there. That will jumpstart a bunch of the tree, of the new branch, epicormic sprouts and whatnot in the middle of the canopy. And try this stuff for the soil, because that's going to be, looks like a lion tail already dealing with codominance. They charge money just to add more mechanical stress and make it more prone to failure. Yeah. So no, Pedrito is absolutely spot on. Right. Well done, buddy. Lion's tail pruning is like one of the worst things you could do, other than topping it and other than removing the tree completely altogether. The reason being is what happens, it changes the physics. You reduce the amount of leaf surface area. Those trees need leaves, so they put them on there. You reduce the ability to prune and reduce leverage later on. So now you've limited the pruning capabilities that you have. It also changes the physics and causes more failure in the upper canopy, particularly, not so much in the lower canopy in the whole tree. But yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle. And honestly, you're going to have to consider structural integrity of that as well, because quite frankly, you've got a big codominant lead right in the middle here. That's basically your whole tree is codominant. And then you've got codominant here, codominant here, codominant here. So you've got a really, really, really poor structure. And I agree with Pedrito. Those guys are charging you the big bucks to come in there and just hack, chop, and slice and do all sorts of damage to your tree. So yeah, the molasses and the humates, those will actually help to jumpstart some new growth. We've got research studies out there that prove that. But it's not the end all be all. The main thing is just stop letting guys prune your trees. Like, y'all, stop over pruning trees. It's ridiculous. So many people over prune their trees, and I don't understand why. It's like these guys, they call themselves tree services, but really they're tree murderer services. So anyway, Steve, sorry that happened, man. That stinks, but moving on. I'd like to know about cutting down a large live oak in a small yard. Some roots above ground, and half my yard is dead unalived grass because of too much shade. If one has to cut down and stump grind, will it possibly cause problems in the future to the house foundation when the roots start to decay? Will any shoots start growing if the stump is ground 7 to 8 inches? Generally speaking, the shoots are not going to grow if you grind it down that much. But quite frankly, tree roots will not grow in an area where there's no water and no oxygen, no air down there. So your house being one of those, by the way, unless you're on a pier and beam. If you've got a pier and beam, the roots will grow around it, but generally they're not going to damage it whatsoever. What they can do is indirectly pull moisture out of the soil. And if you've got a heavy clay soil like we do here in Houston, then that can cause this massive shrinking and expanding of the soil. And that can be really problematic because that can create voids. Also, if you've got a large live oak in a small yard, I would like to know, when was the house put in relation to the tree? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Because if the tree came first and you put the house there, you cause some root damage, but the tree will grow around it. You might want to put in like a root barrier in that case. Very rarely do I recommend that, though. The main issue you're going to see is when you remove that. Yes, those roots will decay. It'll take 5 to 10 years typically, but they will create a void in the soil. And yes, the foundation can drop. So that's my soapbox, humble 2 cents, etc., etc. And yeah, hope that helps. I'm sorry you're dealing with that, but I have an HOA and trying to make the right decision. I should not have been planted. It should not have been planted in a small yard. Hey, and hit me up too if you need to have communication sent over to the HOA. I'm happy to help you. Oopsies. I'm glad that had a backup double check. So yeah, hope that helps, buddy. Let me know if you need anything else, and carry on. All right, Jessica's asking, hi, all, coming with your questions for you experts, as I know nothing about trees, unfortunately. That's our experts' jobs. I have a landscaper come in last year, and he planted these amber cedars. What's up, bud? Yeah, come in last year and he planted these amber cedars for hedges. I just dug them up because they are unaliving. I'm wondering if there's any way I can replant and save them. Yes, they severed some big roots in there. Man, that's going to be an uphill battle. It depends where you're at too. Where are you at? Ontario. Oh, you're probably fine. Yeah, Ontario. Well, maybe those are. See, here's the thing with those. I think they're arborvitae, right? Amber cedars. Never mind. I lied. Man, I'm not gonna lie. Those are that to me. That would not be worth it. I would get some new ones, honestly. Ugh. Maybe the one that's ultra green here might make it, but the rest of those are pretty much toast, unfortunately. That is. Oh goodness. So I don't want to go to all that work if they will 100% just fully die unalive on me. Yeah, I would just I would work on growing the human instead of growing the trees, Jessica. I don't think that's going to be worth your time and effort. That looks like a lot of work. I'm impressed you did all that while pregnant. I'm hoping you had some assistance in the matter, but I think I noticed the landscaper did not dig wide or deep enough. So I'm wondering if that was the issue. I would say 100% that is probably going to be the issue there, Jessica. So yeah, I wouldn't. I'd probably get new ones. Look at that set of sporia. That's fun. That is black spot fungus on Jeannie's tree. This is our ornamental pear. It's 8 years old. Can anyone tell me what this is and what we need to do to fix it? I've never had that issue. I love this antifungal. I really do. Mix it with about 1-to-1 ratio molasses, cooking molasses, like a high quality black strap or something like that. You can, but don't use like the gardening molasses. Usually it's junk. Not always, but usually. And then, so do that and then add this as well. And then that's going to go a long ways. You want to treat the tree and the soil. I don't see any what is it, unalivedly. Is deadly okay to use? Can I say deadly? I just did twice. Suck it, Facebook. Suck it, YouTube, LinkedIn. I don't care. I'm going to say deadly because I don't know any way to say it otherwise. Toxic, very bad. But those, yeah, that doesn't look like anything that will unalive your tree. It looks like black spot, which is a really common one. You're going to get it anytime you get heavy rain. Is all those water droplets will hit those fruiting bodies that we're seeing right here. That's what those spots are. Those are the fruiting bodies of the fungus. Those spores elsewhere and cause big time problems. So, all right, moving on. Oh, did I give you a solution? I gave you a solution. That's good. All right. Delia is asking, I have a country that sits beside our house that was struck by lightning 2 nights ago. Wow. We have recently purchased the property, so I do not have any history on it. Is there anything we could do, or is it just a matter of wait and see? Well, here's my take on it. The textbooks all say there's nothing you can do. You have to wait 12 months to see whether the tree is going to respond well or not. However, what I've found in my 23 years of doing these crazy tree things is you've actually got a big problem. The big problem is not only does it damage your tree, but it damages the microflora that is benefiting the tree as well. So I would say you're going to want to do some humic acid and molasses. Again, I know I sound like a broken record here, you guys. Yeah. These comments are so hilarious. I will believe you, Stephen. There's some wacky things that people say to do to trees. But what you want to do is feed the microbes. The humic acid will feed the fungus. The soil and plant energy will feed the bacteria, the beneficials. So yes, I would definitely try to hit it with that. That's going to give it a better shot. Somebody said 75%. It's actually 50-50. It's about 50%. Works at retired. I don't know what you do to them, but you're right. A lot of trees will make it past that, but you do have to restore the microflora. That will restore on its own as the tree produces photosynthetes. It pumps it down into the ground. That feeds it pumps about 50% of it into the soil. That becomes food for the microbes, which help the tree to live and thrive. So that would be my 2 cents on the matter. Is give it an extra shot because it's gonna be struggling and man, it stinks. I'm sorry you had that happen. What's the lightning doing? You got a big metal lightning rod right next to it. That jerk. Sorry to hear that, Delia. Oh, Weatherford. What's up, Weatherford? You're my neighbor. I grew up in Plano. Hi all. Can you please help me with this? We talked about that, you guys. I think did my video post? Ay, Dios mío. Okay. I'm going to have to pump that video out manually. See if I can find it here. Y'all, I'm freaking tired. What am I doing to myself here? Is anybody even on this thing anymore? Or are we just talking to myself? Lucas is here. What's up, Lucas? All right, we'll go through and we're gonna skip that one. And I made a video for that one. So now we're getting to where I was making videos too. So this is fun. All right, so Anonymous is asking, I live in Central Florida. We have a very large camphor tree, which are cool trees. I love camphor trees. We'd like to add a pool and are wondering how far away we need to go. Hey, what's up, JK? Sorry, I didn't realize you were still with us. It just, for whatever reason, it was showing on my end that nobody was here. I was like, bye guys. It goes up and down. It goes to like 12 and then down to 0 and then up to 15 and then down to 0 and then 1 and then 0. You know, it's really weird, but I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. Drip line is a myth. They used to think roots only went as far as the as the canopy, but it's not true. Be safe. You should be 3x the tree's canopy width away. Yes and no. Yeah, you want to go as far away from the tree as you possibly can. I think that's what Casey was getting at mostly. Oh, is it far enough away from the pool? Sorry, JK, I didn't. Oh, where are we looking here? Yeah, is that the pool you're talking about, JK? On this pecan? Yeah, yeah. I think it's far enough away. Yeah, that's got plenty of room to grow. Assuming that's the one you're talking about. Sorry, I'm like, man, I'm dozing here, guys. I'm gonna call it here in a minute. Once we get into September, I think maybe get a few of them knocked out for September, and then we're gonna call it for the day because I am exhausted. And we've actually done really good. We've knocked out a big chunk of these. So, yeah, if you're asking about that big pecan we were looking at, the lightning struck one, JK, then yes, I think it's plenty far away from the pool. Generally speaking, yeah, right on, cool. So yeah, I think it's plenty far away. And here's the thing: is that gunite is pretty solid. The roots do not bypass it unless you get a crack in it. And so, generally speaking, the roots are going to come right up to the wall, find out that that's not a good place for them to live and thrive, and go the opposite direction. So yeah. Generally speaking, if you got some hardscape, you got some driveway, you got some foundation, the tree's going to grow around it 9 times out of 10. So generally speaking, I'm not too worried about issues with hardscape. Although, check it out. There's a really cool book out there that I love. I got to go through it another time because it's got. I missed some things when I was going through the first time, but it's a book called "Reducing Infrastructure Damage from Trees," and y'all, you can find this on Amazon and on the ISA store. I think Aska store holds it too. You can tell my daughter took a bite out of it. So she's learning how to use those chompers, you know. May as well eat paper. Why not? Life's short, right? All right, let me see if I can upload this video now. No, not that one. Here. This. There we go. What just happened? What did I do? You did, Jim. Game over, man. All right, you know what we could do? We could just do this. I done broke the interwebs, yo. Okay, so 2025-0904. This is ridiculous that I can't even add. I already thought I put like 3 quick videos up on some of the replies just to get some knocked out so that we had some good solutions to these tree problems. and they're all gone. Like only one of them uploaded. I did 4 videos. That's like 12 minutes of content, y'all. All right, so we're gonna let that bad boy load right there for a minute. There. All right, we're moving on. Central Florida, yeah. I don't think you have to worry about it. The main thing, take the diameter. Okay, do you timestamp it here, Lucas? Because I've been chit-chatting way too long for Jessica there. And you should be able to see and tag them as well. So basically, yeah, you want to go 5 times the diameter of the trunk. So if you've got a 12-inch diameter trunk, go 5 times beyond that. Within that region of that 5 times the diameter of the trunk is what's called the root plate. The root plate holds about 85% of the tree up in the air. So it's really critically important. Those are structural roots. There's 2 types of roots. There's structural and there's absorbing roots. The absorbing ones obviously do just that. They're little fibrous, microscopic, sometimes even root hairs that grow, and they take up moisture. They're very soft. They can absorb water and minerals very easily, kind of like a sponge. And then mycorrhizal fungus are the ones that bind to that. The big roots that you see coming at your house that you're so scared of or whatever, or growing on top of the soil that you're worried about trip hazards or whatever, those are structural supporting woody root tissue. You do not want to cut those if you can avoid them, because that is structural in nature. So once you start cutting into that, the closer you get to the trunk, the worse off you are. But what I've found is if you can keep those trees healthy and thriving, and again, I love humic acid and molasses for y'all that know me. That is a really great way to do that, is just give them a little shot of the humates, and that'll help to jumpstart some of the roots. This will do the exact same thing. You can actually get what's called IBA, indole 3 butyric acid, and that is a rooting hormone that you can add to it as well. I'll use that a lot on trees that we're really worried about root mass on. But the main thing is just give it some extra resources. Make sure you're 5 times the diameter of the trunk tissue. Beyond that is where you're putting the pool if you can. If not, hit me up. We can always start putting together a construction plan regarding the trees. We can even do a tree protection ordinance. I call it an ordinance, but it is not an ordinance. It's actually just a tree protection plan that we get contractors to sign off on, saying that they're held liable for the tree. So yeah, hit me up if you want. We can always do a digital arborist consultation and figure out exactly where the best place to go. I can even get online with the engineer and we can work it out together. So hope that helps. Edited to add serviceberry spring flurry as a single trunk option. Hello, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. We are in a new to us home, newer neighborhood, all clay soil. Yeah, I hear you. I want to fill in along the back fence. We're in a corner, so it is long but narrow. Green giant on the left corner. That'd be an arborvitae. And Leland cypress, gross. Leland cypress has problems. In the right corner, although they're beautiful trees, I got nothing against their aesthetics. Green giant in the left corner and Leland cypress on the right. Looking for a nice small deciduous tree to put sort of in the center. Trying to decide between serviceberry. I saw some single trunk and multi-trunk autumn brilliance. The other choice is evening light snowball. That's going to be more a local issue. You might want to talk to some really good. That's one of those I would not be the right person to ask, because those are 2 trees that I don't know. What I would say is, serviceberry stays pretty small. So they're not going to be too big, but I really don't know those 2 varieties. Spring flurry is a single trunk option. Yeah, I would get with like a local person that really knows the intimate details of those particular ones. We actually don't have serviceberry here in Texas, so I see it all the time whenever I'm up in y'all's neck of the woods, Kentucky. I was just there in April, Tennessee in March. So I see it all the time, but we just really don't have it here. I fill in the blue stem, maybe 9 bark and hydrangeas. I love the hydrangea idea. I know the soil needs some amendments for planting, but really needs some guidance, please. This is going to be the best thing you can do for that soil right now to get it prepared and really start start getting a good healthy soil going. You can even do the molasses as well, but that's one of those you can use this stuff, which is a super high quality molasses, or you can get your own molasses. Order it from Amazon. Get the blackstrap or cooking molasses. What's up, Sarah? Why are the leaves on my red bud so much smaller this year? I've noticed an enormous amount of seed pods on it this year. That's a great question. Tell me more about it. And if you can, do you have any pictures you can send me maybe? Send them to this email. Send them to this one. Oops, that's the wrong email. Don't send it to that one. That's definitely something I would do. Hold on, Sarah. Yeah, send it to that email. Send me some pictures. Maybe we got another 5 minutes. We're going to be here. So if you can get them to me quick, maybe we can answer it. Otherwise, we'll just talk later. But yeah, thanks for the great question. Leaves on my red buds so much smaller this year. I've noticed an enormous amount of seed pods on it this year. That's generally a survival technique. The tree is trying to reproduce the species because it's under extreme stress. So I'd be willing to bet that you've got a really stressed tree. I'd really need some pictures to take a look at it though, Sarah. So yeah, shoot those pictures over to me ASAP and maybe we can get to it tonight. Oh man, I can't believe those idiots are going to ride around all over Houston naked. All right. No, in my turf, in my neighborhood, they wouldn't get away doing that very long. We have like, I don't know, 12 cops in here. My next door neighbor is a U.S. Marshal. He sees all of the police chases, all of the crazy stuff that you read about on the news. And his dog is a police forensics bomb dog. He's a canine. So he's a super cool guy. Don and I go way back, apparently. I've only known him for like 10 months, but all right. So Misty is asking, any idea what this would be in a broadleaf bottle tree? Please. Thank you in advance. So polite. Well, you got a root flare issue there, Misty. You've got I don't know bottle trees that well. It's actually, that's like a native North African tree, I believe. Let me see. Yeah. Huh. I didn't know that Southeastern United States used to protect against evil spirits. That's funny. That is not what I was looking for. Okay, never mind. What I'm looking for is the brag. Yeah, Australian. I'm sorry. I'm full of it. Yeah. So Australian bottle tree, Queensland bottle tree. Yeah. So I don't know, to be honest, but to me, it looks like root flares are buried. Those do need root flares as well. They are a monocotyledon, if I remember correctly. Leaves. No, they're dicotyledon. Cool. Things you never knew about bottle trees. Narrow leaf bottle tree. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's dicotyledon. Sorry, trying to figure out bottle trees here. I'm not from Australia and I've never been. So, but I see pictures. They're super cool trees. Any idea what would be in my bottle tree? Yeah, Queensland. That's so cool. Welcome from America. It's probably like morning for you. But that looks like some sort of wood decay pathogen. Looks like a fungal pathogen that's coming in and eating that tissue alive. So you would definitely want to get, this wouldn't be a good option for you, but let me give you a list of some of these. You may need a little bit harder hitting stuff, but if you can pay the customs fees and get away with it, I'd love to get you some myself. But if you can't, that's that old Carter's commercial for getting off of drugs. It's like, if you can't get help with Carter's, please get help somewhere. But hey, thanks so much for being a part of this group all the way literally across the world. That's so cool. But yeah, I think it's some sort of fungal pathogen. You want to mix that, and then you want to mix that as well. Oops. That and that. in that as well. Yeah, and those will go a long ways. But like I said, if you can't get help from me, get help somewhere. So they're still talking. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and they're still talking about naked bike riders going on this weekend. They said they have 20 to 100 people. It's like, and y'all never got the police called on you. Come on, I don't believe it. I don't think we're gonna make it to September, y'all. It's getting too late for my my sorry, lazy, tired butt. I don't think so. Hey, let me check for that email. That's a great point. No, I don't see that email. But if you can send it to me there, Sarah, I'd love to answer that. And we're going to be going live next Tuesday as well. Ooh, great question. We just had another one come in. Should I be watering my Elderica, I don't know how to pronounce it, pine tree twice a week in the high desert? You can. Now, you've probably got a rocky soil. So, yes, check moisture levels. Those Elderica pines or Elderica pines are a desert pine, though, so they generally do pretty well. Hold on one second. Let me look something up. Yeah, we call them Afghan pines. That's right. Yeah, no, you don't. That's one thing you really want to be careful of. There, Alex, is you don't want to put too much water in it. What you do want to do is take like a screwdriver and just test the soil prior to irrigating. So let me show you just a video that I did recently. You know what I could do? I could do this. Screwdriver test. Lucas yelling at his cat in my ear here. Yeah, that's funny, Alex. Yeah. Yeah, you can even get like a moisture meter and see. Man, high desert, yeah, you're gonna have like some seriously rocky soil. So all that rocky soil does not lock onto water very tightly. That's why those Afghan and Elderica or Elderica, however you pronounce them, pines do so well. They've got those really waxy needles that lock onto moisture. They don't expire nearly as much as like a broadleaf tree does. And so what that does, it allows the tree to live in those desert-like environments. And so, yes, it's important that it gets water. You don't want to spoil it too much, though. So that's really important. What you do want to check for is salt levels in the soil. That's going to be really, really important. And if you've got really high salt levels, then this stuff will work miracles. And so, yeah, try that out. Give it a whirl. That's it's basically humic acid, fulvic acid, and some other things to stabilize it. Just really good product. Wait a minute. What are you doing here? Oh, it's okay. And with that, you guys, I'm going out. I'm so tired. I'm going to go night-night now. I don't even know if y'all can understand that. That's me just whining and complaining because I'm exhausted, you guys. As I was saying before, I'm on a litigation case where there was a mortality involving a tree. And, y'all, that just took all of my brain capacity earlier today. So I really appreciate y'all being with me. We were trying to blow through as many of these as we can. And I think we did a wonderful job, you guys. We did it. Together, we can do anything. So thank you guys so much again for being a part of this group and this community and this channel. And love having you guys here and hanging out and talking trees with me. And y'all keep up these great questions. Again, for those of you that don't know, we do have a Facebook group. For those of you watching on YouTube, and we'd love to have y'all come join us. It's a free group. Basically, you come and you ask your questions. And this guy, 1 out of 100 people, and we're actually working on getting some other arborists in here to help me out as well. Because, like, oh, it's so cool. Like, we're getting some really, really top-notch professionals out there. Joseph Lipari, he's another great arborist. Like, there's so many cool, great arborists and tree doctors and botanists and bears oh my, like so many cool people that have been a part of this group. Shem Kendrick, Christine, JK, you guys have been so loyal and so awesome. And y'all, we're just building a really cool and really fun community. So come join us there. And again, if you need help with your trees, we do offer, essentially it's telemedicine for trees. As we get online, we help people make great decisions with their trees. And if you do want to get a more closer, more intimate look at your tree and figure out exactly what's going on and what you need to do to keep them healthy or get them healthy, we'd love to help you out. So hit us up on the web at arboristonDemand.com, and you can just click one of the links to schedule an appointment, and you and I will talk. We'll talk trees, and y'all, just thank you so much again for being here, and stay tuned. We're going to be announcing the event probably next Tuesday, coming up on another live stream, just like we're doing. Facebook group is Ask an Arborist, Ask ASK and Arborist. Oops. Yeah, that's great, man. We'd love to have you come join us, man. So, hey, y'all, thanks again so much for being here, and y'all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.